Thank you to Torah Talk and J-Root Radio for sponsoring this.
We're all familiar with the Gemara Masechet Yoma that says that the second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of baseless hatred, Sinat Hinam. Says Rav Kook, the only way Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt is Ahavat Hinam, baseless love. Says the Sefer Vavei Amudim, the son of the Shlach Kadosh, that the Beit HaMikdash wasn't destroyed overnight. It was an accumulation of different sins that they had in the generation, primarily the sin of Sinat Hinam. And if until today the Beit HaMikdash is not rebuilt, that means we still did not fix the problem of Sinat Hinam. We still don't have Ahavat Hinam. But do you know that Ahavat Hinam is not only loving every single Jew outside of your community, every single Jew in the world, it also starts at home. You know the famous saying that says, Hesed starts at the home? So Ahavat Hinam starts at the home. And I'll explain. There's a Gemara Masechet Shabbat Daf Yod that says, Amar Rabba bar Mahsaya, Amar Rav Hama bar Guria, Amar Rav. Notice how many different rabbis said this sentence. Le'olam al yishaneh adam beno ben habanim. A person should never differentiate his son amongst other children. Shebishvil mishkal shenesela im milat shenatan Yaakov leYosef yoter mishe'ar banav nitkan'u bo echav v'nitgalgel hadabar v'yardu abotenu Mitzrayma. Yaakov Abinu, I'm sure he made coats for all his children, but the technicolor coat, as they call it, the pinstriped color coat that he made for Yosef, which cost only $2 extra more than the coats of the other brothers, that was the reason that they were jealous of him. That was the reason why they sold him. That was the reason why we went down to Mitzrayim. And that was the reason why we served in Mitzrayim for 210 years. Says the Tosafot, what do you mean? We were supposed to go down to Mitzrayim. There's a gezerah, there's a decree by Avraham Abinu's time. Arba me'ot shana, they were supposed to go down to Mitzrayim. So how can you tell me it was because of this? So the Tosafot say, yes, it was a decree, but we needed something to hang this decree on. And what we hung it on, or what Hashem hung this decree on, was the sin or the jealousy that the brothers had towards Yosef, and that's why we went down to Mitzrayim. That's why he was sold as a slave. But notice what the Gemara says. Because Yaakov Avinu differentiated his love or showed his love towards Yosef more than the other brothers, that's the reason why the brothers sold him out of jealousy. Now I'm sure Yaakov Avinu didn't do it bechavana, didn't do it purposely, but nonetheless that happened, the jealousy happened. Says the Ben Ish Hai in a Sefer Ben Yoyada, jealousy in Hebrew is the word kin'ah. Kin'ah is the same letters, if we switch them around, makes the word na'aka, groaning, moaning, screaming out in anguish, in pain, in sorrow, in trouble. Because there was the kin'ah, because there was the jealousy caused by Yaakov Abinu for differentiating Yosef, for quote-unquote loving Yosef more than the other children, more than the other brothers, that jealousy, that kin'ah, caused the Na'aka and Mitzrayim, caused the Jewish people to suffer by the hands of Paro and Mitzrayim for over 210 years. Says the Sefer Pelei Yoetz, it's intrinsic, it's inside of every father and mother to love their children, but sometimes they show love to one child more than the other ones. And he says, but don't forget the pasuk in Shir HaShirim that says, Ki kasha kish'ol kin'ah. Jealousy burns inside of a person like Gehinam. They feel like they're dying on the inside. Jealousy, a person feels like they're dying on the inside. So he says, even though you're supposed to love your children, but make sure you don't show love to one child more than the other. So now the question is, if I buy a special gift for this child, I'm supposed to buy for all the other children? No, that's not the answer. That makes children spoiled. But when you're buying a special gift for a child because he got a good mark on his test, you're supposed to tell the other children, look, the reason why he's getting this special prize or special night out with daddy or mommy is because he got this high excellent mark. When you get that high excellent mark, we'll buy you the same thing. But if you don't say that at the time giving him this gift to this child, you're causing jealousy from the other children towards the other children, and you're letting the other children feel like they're loved less than this child that's getting that special night out, or that's getting the special prize, or that's getting that special gift. You have to be very careful. As parents, we cannot show that we love one child more than the other. It cannot even cross our mind. Whenever we do anything, we're supposed to let the other children know, this is the reason why I'm doing it. Not because I love him or her more than you. No, Haz v'shalom, God forbid. I love all of you the same. The reason why I'm doing it is because, like we said, because of the special mark. When there's a new baby in the family, it's natural for all the children to feel jealous of this new baby that's in the family right now. So how do we avoid that jealousy? We have to take the children, the rest of the children, and bring them in and enroll them, if you want to say, in the tasks or in the chores of dealing with this baby or taking care of this new child, of this new baby. Let them feel enthusiastic that they're now part of taking on to help daddy, to help mommy in what we're doing with this baby. But if you show that we're spending all of our time with this new baby, with this new child, how do you think the other children are going to feel? But at the time that you put them in, you make them participate also with this new baby, it's a totally different world. It's a totally different story right now. So that's what the Gemara is saying. We have to be very careful not to show love for one child more than the other, because it will cause jealousy amongst the other children. Like the brothers of Yosef, Yaakov Avinu didn't do it purposely, like we said, but nonetheless it did cause jealousy amongst the other children, amongst the Ahayim of Yosef. And we saw what happened. They sold him to a slave in Egypt and they suffered in Mitzrayim. Rabotai, that's what we mean by what we're saying. Ahavat Hinam starts in the house. We have to be very careful not to cause Sinat Hinam. Because what happens when a person is jealous, when a child is jealous? He hates the other child. And that causes destruction. That causes Hurban. God forbid what it will cause. We don't know what it will cause. We don't want to know what it will cause. But it all starts out from jealousy. So we have to show Ahavat Hinam in the home. Ahavat Hinam towards all the children the same. The moment we differentiate or we distinguish one child amongst the other one, that causes Sinat Hinam. We have to be very careful not to do that. How important is it to have Ahavat Hinam in the house? And it's not only between a father and mother towards their children, it's between the spouses also. There's a famous story with Rabbeinu Ari. A few days ago was his yard site. The story is told by Rabbi Sa'im Salant that when Eliyahu Navi came over to the Rabbeinu Ari and he told him, the Mashiach is about to come. I just need you to come with me to the Shalayim that we could bring him. Me and you will bring the Mashiach. So Rabbeinu Ari says, okay, no problem. I have no problem coming with you, but let me go inside to my wife and tell her that I'm leaving. I have to give her the kavod. I have to give her the respect and honor to tell her that I'm leaving. He goes inside, he comes out, Eliyahu Navi left. Rabbi Sa'im Salan says, of course Rabbeinu Ari knew that if he would go back inside, Eliyahu Navi wouldn't wait for him and leave. But nonetheless, he had to give kavod to his wife. He had to give honor. He had to give respect to his wife. Because what's the point of having the Ge'ulah, having Mashiach, if you're going to step on somebody's toes? If you're not going to give respect to your wife, give respect to your children, honor everybody the same. Ahavat Hinam starts in the house. So he says, yes, I know the Mashiach is supposed to come, but I'm going to now leave without saying goodbye to my wife. That's causing Sinat Hinam. I have to increase the Ahavat Hinam inside of my house. And who did Rabbeinu Ari learn this from, Rabotai? He learned it from Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem is pleading with Moshe for 7 days. Moshe, go. Go redeem the Jewish people. Go. And Moshe Rabbeinu has different kinds of excuses. Finally, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I can't go. What about Aharon? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, don't worry about it. Aharon will see you. V'ra'acha v'samach bilibo. He'll be happy on the inside. He'll be truly happy for you. Moshe Rabbeinu says, how could I go and redeem the Jewish people if I'm going to cause jealousy between me and my brother? I'm going to cause sinat hinam. I have to increase the ahabat hinam. Ahabat hinam starts in the house. It doesn't only have to do per se with loving every single Jew outside of your community, inside your community, inside your family, inside your home, between you and your wife, between you and your children. And we know in Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, one of the reasons why we fast is because the luhot broke. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down, he sees Bnei Yisrael doing the golden calf, the Aigel, he breaks the luhot. What does that mean, Nishtabiru luhot? So there's a symbolic meaning behind that. Nishtabiru luhot. The luhot, the tablets broke. Now we know on one side of the tablets were the mitzvot of Ben Adam LaMakom, between us and Hashem, which is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Lo Yeh, Kaved Abicha V'Temecha, Zachor Yom HaShabbat LeKadosho, Lo Tisah Et Shem Hashem. That's on one side. The other side is Lo Titzah, Lo Tin'af, Lo Tignob, Lo Ta'aneh, Lo Tahmod, things between us and our fellow man. But when Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luhot, it was a symbolic meaning to us. I'm breaking the luhot right now, which means you guys are only concentrating on keeping the mitzvot on one side of the tablets, on Ben Adam LaMakom. What about the Ben Adam LaHavero? What about that? What about the mitzvot between you and your fellow man? What about the mitzvot between you and your wife? What about the mitzvot between you and your children? Not to cause any sin'ah, not to cause any hatred, not to cause any jealousy, to increase the avat hinam. So when the luhot broke, when the tablets broke, that means that there was no more one side of the tablets. There's no more that making sure we don't step on people's toes. We give our wife the honor that she deserves. We give our children the respect that they deserve. We love all our children the same. And maybe with this we could explain the Gemara Masechet Gittin, the famous Gemara of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. We know the story. A person had a friend that he loved, Kamsa. He had a person that he hated, Bar Kamsa. He told his servant, go get me Kamsa. By mistake, he brings him Bar Kamsa. There's a mix-up over there. He embarrasses him and he leaves. Rabotai, what do we learn from the story? What do we learn from the story? Bar Kamsa, in the end, he goes and he speaks Lashon Hara to the Caesar. And with that, the Caesar sends his army, he sends his troops, and he destroys the Beit HaMikdash. You know, Rabotai, what was the behind the scenes? What was the root hatred in Bar Kamsa inside his heart? It was jealousy. What do I mean by it was jealousy? Bar Kamsa says to himself, I don't understand. I'm in a party right now. Fine, you hate me and you want to kick me out because you wanted to invite Kamsa and not me. Fine, but I don't understand. From all the people that you could have invited, you have to invite Kamsa. What does that mean? You had to invite Kamsa. The Maharsha says Kamsa and Bar Kamsa was a father and son. So Bar Kamsa says, from all the people you could have invited, right? You want to invite my father, Kamsa? And what do you think it's going to make me feel? True, you don't like me, but what do you think it's going to make me feel? Of course I'm going to be jealous of my father. Everybody loves my father, but nobody loves me. Invite somebody else. If you would have invited somebody else and kicked me out of your party, I wouldn't have made the scene. But because you invited my father and I have jealousy, right now, they love my father more than they love me. Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. Kamsa was the father. Bar Kamsa was the son of the father. That's what it means. Bar Kamsa. You could have invited anybody else, but you had to invite Kamsa, my father. How do you think it's going to make me feel? That jealousy, Rabotai, that jealousy caused the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. That jealousy caused the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. That was the Sinat Hinam. But in this time, we have to increase the Ahabat Hinam. And we'll end off with this, Rabotai. We'll conclude with this. There's the Midrash in Megillat Echad that says, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was about to destroy the Beit HaMikdash, he summoned all the Abot HaKadoshim. He summoned Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, to maybe say a good word about the Jewish people, and he won't destroy the Beit HaMikdash. Abraham Abinu had nothing to say. Yitzhak Abinu had nothing to say. Yaakov Avinu had nothing to say. Moshe Rabbeinu had nothing to say. Meaning they said, but it wasn't working. So finally, Rachel Imenu, nobody calls her, nobody summons her. Rachel Imenu comes to Hashem and she says, Hashem, look what happened with me in my life. I was supposed to marry Yaakov Avinu. Yet I knew my father Lavan would switch us in the wedding night. He would switch us. So what did I do? I wasn't jealous of my sister. I gave her all the simanim, I gave her all the signs, and I was happy for her. I wasn't jealous from her. And Hashem, you're jealous that the Jewish people are worshiping idols and they're not worshiping you. You really have jealousy, Hashem? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Rachel Imenu, Min'i kolech mibechi ve'enayich midim'a, ki esacha lefulatech. Okay, because of you, Rachel, I will take the Jews out of the exile, I'll take them out of the diaspora, I'll take them out of the galut, and one day I will rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. What do we learn from this Megillat Echa Midrash? What do we learn from the story with Rachel Imenu? Which means there was a form of jealousy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had because the Jewish people are worshipping idols and not worshipping Him. Look how far the jealousy extends. That destroying the Beit HaMikdash because of jealousy. So Rachel Imenu is teaching us, I wasn't jealous of my sister. I had ahabat hinam. I didn't have sinat hinam. I fixed my sinat hinam. I had ahabat hinam. I wasn't jealous. I didn't have kin'ah. And because of that, Hashem, you shouldn't have kin'ah also. Because of that, you should rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. Because of that, you should take the Jews out of the galut. So Rabotai, one thing that parents, the father and mother have to make sure, be very careful to increase the ahabat hinam in the house between the other siblings, between everybody that's living in the house. Increase the ahabat hinam. The moment they show more love towards one child than the next, they are causing sinat hinam. Sinat hinam causes destruction. It leads to hurban. It led to hurban Beit HaMikdash. It led to the hurban of Am Yisrael. We're still in galut right now because we still didn't fix the problem of sinat hinam. We still don't have ahabat hinam. But again, ahabat hinam starts in the house. Make sure all your children feel that they have your attention. Every boy, every girl has the same attention like everybody else. Don't show you love one more than the other. And with that zechut be'ezat Hashem, Hashem will say, die, will say enough to our tzarot, rebuild the Beit HaMikdash when we really truly fix our bat hinam. Thank you for watching.